Erskine Rodan is a partner at Erskine Rodan and Associates Immigration Law Specialists. While Christine practices all sorts of immigration law, I was hoping that we could talk today about the new book that she and her partner Erskine have written, and also a bit about business visas. Hello, Christine.
Hello, Fiona.
Congratulations first on the book, Migrating to Australia. It is so comprehensive and a definitive starting point for anybody who is thinking of any kind of visa application to come here. I know it would have been a huge project, so congratulations on that. And
thank you.
Maybe you could tell me what prompted you, what was the motivation to pull that book together?
I think it was the amount of misinformation that's out there, that I saw so many clients who would come in here and say, oh, I've been told this and a friend did that and I've heard this and is that right and can I do this, and if I'm married to an Australian I'm automatically able to get a visa, is that right? And there was so much misinformation and there was nothing available for people in public to find simple, straightforward explanations. There are legal books with legal explanations. There's the Immigration Department website and fact sheets that you can access, but it's very hard to find your way through it. So I wanted to put something together that would give people an overview and a broad introduction so that they could get an idea what they would be able to do.
Would it be fair to say that many people are flying blind on this issue?
Totally, absolutely. I saw someone this morning who's here on a temporary working visa, and she's been here for 4 years and got no idea what she could do from there. Now, when she first came, if someone had given her this book and said, these are the different avenues, she'd have an idea, but instead she's in Australia working but got no idea where to go from there.
So she couldn't plan a strategy at the outset?
Totally.
Yeah.
And she's got children who could have been here with her and she had no idea. And so the ignorance of immigration law is huge.
I've met a number of people who've come to Australia and have set up small businesses or bought into a business and that sort of thing, and joined the business community basically. Firstly, how common is this that someone wishing to migrate will come here and start or buy into a business?
It's not extremely common because it's a very difficult route. For people coming from other countries to come in here and set up a business is not an easy thing. There's a lot of regulation of all sorts, and to do that I think is a very brave thing to do. The people who do come here, they need to have a lot of money to be able to establish a business here. Going back a number of years, it used to be reasonably easy to get a business visa and set up a business.
So if someone was to come to Australia to set up a business, what sort of visa would they be applying for?
It's a business skills visa, and you can apply for them as business owners, or if you're a very senior executive in a large company overseas, you can apply for a business visa. Or there are investment visas where you can invest money in Australian government bonds and get a visa that way. The main one is the business skills visa, where someone who owns a business overseas and wants to relocate in Australia. Now, sometimes they maintain their businesses overseas, other times they sell everything and come here to establish a business. And it's a very brave thing to do, and sometimes they have to try 2 or 3 times to get it right. I know one person who started off with the plan to have a bakery, and then it was going to be an olive oil farm, and then it was something else, and he ended up staying, but it took him a long time to work out what was going to work here. He found that doing business here was much harder than in Turkey. But if people are brave and adventurous, it's a very good way of establishing their family here. Entrepreneurial
people often are, and that's why, as you say, maybe it's their 3rd or 4th business here that actually is the one that works and supports them and the family. Has that got a lot to do with just the new setting, the new sets of laws and regulations, and that everything is different, that you actually have this huge learning curve from one country to the next?
So. I think it's, and especially if they don't speak the language well also, that it's often easier if they've got family members here. But many people, and we have a history in Australia of people setting up businesses and becoming extremely successful.
For potential business migrants to Australia, what key things would you suggest they focus on before they apply for a visa, before they start a process to get approval?
I think the main thing is knowing what they want to do here. That sometimes people come to Australia and they say, now I want to get a business visa and establish a business here without any idea of really what they want to do. And it's very important that they make contacts with business people here and know what direction they want to go and have a really realistic idea of what it is that they want to do here.
How good is Australia at that business association level for migrants from other countries coming here for business reasons? Do we have good associations in place that support business migration?
There are lots of opportunities. There are lots of overseas business councils and so on. There's the American Chamber of Commerce and the Australia-Indian Council and many. But it's hard for people often to break into them and know about them. If they've come to Australia on business previously, they've often got those sorts of contacts. But if they're coming in cold, it can be hard for them to find information.
Maybe you could describe to me which case, business skills case that you've been involved with, that you got the right result for, that warms your heart the most.
Look, I think probably a man from Sri Lanka who came here was very successful in business overseas, but came here knowing no one at all and set up a business here that's been very successful and relocated his whole family and has a whole new life here.
That's incredibly courageous, isn't it?
Very. I don't think I'd be brave enough to do it.
It's wonderful, it's wonderful. Actually, is it easier to come to Australia if you're willing to invest in a business, or would you consider it easier these days to come under an employer-sponsored arrangement? An
employer-sponsored arrangement is a more straightforward way, and you don't need to commit nearly so much in that way. If you're sponsored by an employer, you come here to work. You can get either a temporary visa or a permanent visa. For highly skilled people, it's a more direct and simple way to come to Australia. I think the business visas take a lot more courage.
If one was more of an entrepreneur at heart and they did take the employer-sponsored route because it was easier, can they then
establish a business? Yes, indeed. And sometimes people come in sponsored by an employer and actually buy into the business or end up buying the business. There are a range of things that people do, and often if they get permanent residence then they branch out into their own businesses, so it can lead to that.
Congratulations again on the book, Migrating to Australia, and there is a whole comprehensive section called Business Skills, of Chapter 6 of that book, well worth reading if anyone is considering coming to Australia for business reasons as a business skills person. And thank you for your time today, Christine.
Thank you very much, Fiona.
Christine Rodan is a partner at immigration law firm Erskine Rodan and Associates, and together with her life partner Erskine Rodan has written and published the definitive guide to Australian visa and immigration issues called Migrating to Australia, the Guidebook.